All right. So, as I said, I will be talking about why is the toughest of all questions, and we'll talk a little bit more on that and how to become a CTO. So, obviously, last several months showed us that we are really drinking water from a fire hydrant. I mean, it's one of the important things that we will be doing it is enjoying change. And to be honest, it's not a natural instinct of human beings. Human beings don't like change. It's very instinctive to stay stable and not change. But if you're decided to become a CTO, change is part of your life. If you don't like to change, then you're in a very tough situation because it's getting faster and faster. I mean, what we talked about 6 months ago about AI, and it's completely different that we are talking about it now. And it's going to get faster, and it's going to be very diversified. So changing is it's going to be a quick out there. One of my favorite quotes is from Alvin Toffler, and Alvin Toffler says that on 21st century, people are not going to be literate or illiterate, but there's going to be the people who learn, unlearn, and relearn stuff because the change is going to happen very fast. And Alvin Toffler is one of the futurist people. Do you know when did he say this? It was 1970s. So he foresees what's happening today that is going to be so fast of a change. You learn, unlearn, relearn, and otherwise you won't be able to survive. And this is very valid for CTO position as much as quite a lot of other positions in the world. You need to learn fast. Then make sure that you keep the experiences, but unlearn what you learned. Then how are you going to learn this fast in there? So AI is one of the tools that we are going to leverage. I think it's very important. I start looking at it. I need to and start leveraging as soon as ChatGPT and other tools start showing up. I mean, it started with the search engines. We find ways to look at it. Obviously, LinkedIn, the people that you follow and the organizations and technologies that you follow, the discussions, any kind of social media that is discussing it. LinkedIn, Reddit, and things like GitHub are the tools that we need to leverage. The other thing that is very challenging for CTOs is to have to keep track of what's happening in the business. Obviously, day to day, I read things like Wall Street and Financial Times, etc. But one of the things that I leverage most is abstract.com. It basically brings like 2-3 page summary of business books that comes out. And then I read those. If it's interesting enough, I buy the book and read the rest of it. But the amount of things that's been published at the moment, you need to leverage tools like abstract.com to be able to get just a couple of pages of the business applications and business tools, etc., to be able to decide if you're going to be. Obviously, blogs and vlogs, video logs, etc., and conferences like this, it allows you to quickly access to the learning fast objective. So this is one of those things that we need to really enjoy the change, enjoy learning, and it's not going to stop. And for many years, I give welcome and onboarding to employees in Microsoft. And one of the things that I said, you're in an industry, you need to enjoy change. If you believe that you're going to learn something and leverage that knowledge for next 4 or 5 years, 10 years, or until your retirement, this is not the industry. You need to really enjoy and learning, and not only learning, but be able to throw away your learning and unlearn and relearn the new things that comes with it. So this is a very important part of it, and it's going to be looking at it. The other thing that's very important is while you're going to obviously follow the hypes, but what's next? you need to really look at it as a CTO, what's next in there, how is relevant to the startup that you are in, and how is important. So the rest of the people in your organization have luxury to concentrate and be an expert on the technology that you have chosen to develop your startup. But you have a job that's very important. What's next? What's coming up? Is it relevant to our business? How important it is? And this becomes a very important thing. So last 3 or 4 months, 6 months, if you just concentrated on AI, are not looking the rest of it, what about quantum? What about augmented reality, virtual reality, edge computing? What did you miss? And this is a very important part of it. It's you need to be on top of everything else. Yes, AI is the hot topic at the moment, but what about the rest of the stuff? Because people are not stopping. Quantum computing is starting. For example, did you follow that yesterday? People announced that they managed to do some quantum computations in a normal computers. Doesn't need a quantum applications. There's a real news. You need to go and check. Is it relevant to your business or your startup? It's a very important part of it, because if you are anywhere like doing any kind of a blockchain or encryption, etc., for example, quantum computing progress is going to impact you very significantly, and you need to be very aware of what's happening in there. Okay, this is my rule of thumb. Okay, first hour of the day, this is after you wake up, etc., is you need to really look at the news, spend time, and understand what's been changed and learn new stuff. I put the rule first hour of the day plus 8 hours. So working day, let's assume, is 5 days in a week. So you have 5 first hours of the day plus in total 8 hours that you should spend learning new stuff, okay, and understanding new stuff. I know it's not going to be feasible to do it if you're planning of doing it just 40 hours days. 40 hours weeks, okay? It is not easy to be able to just concentrate on your day-to-day challenges in a startup. There is obviously people in the startup, there's different roles, and CTO is not one of them. CTO needs to look outside of the actual day-to-day problems and look at the other areas. So my rule of thumb, I would like to spend about a total of 13 hours per week, at least, to learn, kick the tires, and look at the new things in there. So how do I manage that? And I'm pretty bad on organizing my day, but I block hours. I block hours of first hour of the day, whatever your day starts, it's being 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 6 a.m., and make sure that that 1 hour is not concentrated on the urgent and issues that's happening in your organization, but important stuff that you need to look at the future. So as a CTO, your rule of thumb, you need to start looking at the future. You can concentrate on today, and if you enjoy concentrating on it today, there's other rules in the organization. So make sure that not only that you do urgent stuff, but you need to do important stuff. And first hour of the day, looking at the future, looking at the new technology is an important part of it. Perceptions and assumptions is the mother of all wrongs. And make sure that you understand what is the impact of these technologies in your systems and be able to implement those. Okay, so and concentrate on those technologies to go a little bit deeper, maybe kick the tires, maybe put your hands dirty and utilize it. That's the 8 hours per week that we're talking about. So it's very important to be able to look at what is your thinking, what did you miss, what's your perceptions, and talk with your colleagues to understand how relevant these new things that you are learning and implementing in there. And that doesn't have to be only computer technology. It could be any other technology as well. I mean, if you are any kind of a warehousing or distribution type of logistics company, you need to look at robotics. And you could be a healthcare CTO, then you should be looking at the medical information that's coming up as well. So in that 13 hours per week, you really have to look at the future and understand how it's going to impact your organization. And as a CTO, you should be looking at it. Why do I say first hour of the day and not last hour of the day? One of the main reasons for it is you want to be on top of the news, okay? As a CTO, people expect you to be on top of technologies, top of the news that's coming up. So in next meeting that you're going to go in, if somebody says, did you hear about the augmented reality new game that's just been released out there, or the display that's been announced yesterday, these are very valid information. I know it because I spent first hour of the day today looking at the stuff. And do you know about it? You should be able to say yes, okay? And that's a very important thing. Are there going to be things that are going to be missed? Yes, but you will be on top of it better than the rest of the people, okay? If you do this thing end of the day, over the night, in the international places all around the world, there'll be new news come up. And in the morning, you're in your first meeting. If somebody says, did you hear what Japan just announced about the quantum computing? You don't want to be saying, oh, no, I have no idea. Let me check it. Okay. So this is a good rule of thumb. And I hope you're going to utilize it to make sure it's important. All right. Patents and not patents. Okay, it's very important that you bring in the patents. Innovation is very important. So as a startup, you really need to look at the way that you're going to changing the business that you're in, or the competition that you're going to go against. And innovation is a very important part of it. So it's very important to look at all the different technologies that comes with it. You need to kick the tires. Anybody knows why kick the tires? It's an important expression. Everybody thinks that kick the tires is when you go and check a new car and you kick the tires and you look around and pretend that you know what you're looking at. Okay, that's not the case. Kick the tires actually started when in the old days, early days of automotive, when the tires actually punctured. And people get really upset and they kick the tires to take their frustration out of the car. Okay. There's also other reasons for it. For example, even the chariots and horse-ridden carts that's been utilized. The driver, before they get on the chariot, they would kick their tires to get rid of the mud from their feet. So kick the tires means that not only just hands-on looking at things. Most important part of it, I love the expression of that, having a punctured tire and getting upset and kicking at it. I'm a big believer that you learn from your mistakes, and you should be hands-on enough to do the kicking the tires and failures and see the new technology and understand the new technology. So one of the things that I believe you learn more from your mistakes than actually your successes. So kicking the tires allows you to have that failures and be able to understand what's happening in there. Don't get me wrong. As a CTO, you have no luxury to be an expert in that one technology. Okay. That's when, after you kick the tires, understand what's happening, you need to hand it over, if decided to utilize in the organization, somebody else in the organization to be the expert on that. With the speed and the technologies happening in there, you have no luxury of becoming an expert in the technologies that you are in. So you need to find somebody who's going to become the expert and help you understand what's happening in that technology in the future. The other thing that's very important for a CTO, especially if you are building a team, a CTO team for the technology perspective, is knowing yourself and the team, and understand things like my breaks or strength finder to figure out what's happening. Let me give you an example. I was building, I've been pulled in a new product in Microsoft, and I was supposed to bring a technology team that's going to bring the solutions to the customers. Okay. Initially, it was me and somebody in my team, and two of us, we were great architects. We knew the technology inside out. We know how to talk to customers, how to build up. And my boss said, "Hey, I'm going to start giving you the headcounts. I have one headcount for you. What would you like to hire?" And I said, "I need a content and organizational person who's going to publish this for us." He goes, "You're crazy." He goes, "You have a technology team. You need to get another architect. There's customers waiting for you." I go, no. This was one of the hardest discussions I had with my boss and the team, and actually my boss's boss as well, to say, no, we need a content publisher. They go, finally they give in. And we hired this person who really put a chaos, put an order to the chaos. Okay. Me and the other architect, we were great at solving customer problems, and we were great satisfying the customers. The problem is we were not scalable. We needed somebody who takes that content that we are creating and publish it out, so we don't have to repeat ourselves and go it, and we can transfer that knowledge to the rest of the organization. And after that, we grew up to be about like 20 people organization in a very short period of time. And that person that we got as a content publisher became one of the most valuable person in the organization, in the team, because we could create we could solve the problems, and he would just take them and publish them and show it in there. So I've been always grateful. Knowing yourself is very important. I'm not a great organizer. I'm not a great publisher. All right. I can solve problems and I can create content, but I don't know how to publish it, making sure that it reaches to the right people at the right level. And that's a very important thing. Leverage tools that's happening out there. Strength Finder is a great one. Myers and Briggs, etc., for your team and yourself, so you know what part you are missing and what to bring in your organization. Stay on top of the why. We talked about the why, and why is you need to know your business. Okay. Even you're a CTO, you don't have a luxury to stay away from the business. Okay. You cannot just stay in the technology. Some of the people in your organization will be able to do that, engineering managers, etc. But as a CTO, you need to understand what kind of business you are in and be able to actually understand what's the impact of potential technologies that in the future that's coming up is going to impact that. Okay. Look at things like, somebody mentioned earlier in the talks about Uber. Uber is great, but what happened to the taxi business? Taxi business ignore that there's apps happening, there's cell phones, and people wants to access the taxi services, and they completely ignore. And Uber, without having any taxis or any cars available to them, they create a business and really hurt the taxi business in overall. So it's very important to understand where you're in. So every business that I join as a CTO or architect or technology manager, I make sure that I understand. For financial institutions, I spend time with the teller, back office, traders, etc., to understand what's happening. With automotive, I was actually in the factory understanding how are we building this. So knowing the technology is not enough unless you can start looking at it from a business perspective. You need to identify why. the problem. Okay, what is the challenge? Taxi business should have understood that accessing to them is difficult. You need to call them, you need to give them the address, you need to tell them when to come, and hope that the taxi drivers take that information, which is by voice only, and transfer it from the dispatcher to that, and finally gets you there. Okay, without understanding why, you're going to be very much challenged. Okay, I have a very good example. It was about a week ago, I believe it was in the news. Again, first hour of the day, I was looking at it, and Google and Wendy's did an AI implementations in their drive-through. Okay, it was very exciting for technology people, and it wasn't very exciting for the customers. Nobody got excited when you go drive-through. There's an experimentation of AI is happening when you're ordering. Okay, because number one need of a drive-through customer is to do things fast, and the AI technologies that's been implemented at the moment didn't make things go fast. Okay, so it is one of those things that it was interesting to see as a technologist perspective. How AI is going to be implemented in the kind of a drive-through food business. Okay, but on the other hand, the customers weren't happy because the drive-through wasn't fast enough, and the AI wasn't fast enough to be able to do that. So these are the things that you need to looking at it. After that, it's very easy to look at what, how, who, when, because those are the things that the answer is very easy. Is why. What to do? Do we need to do an AI implementation for food ordering? Maybe, yeah, we can do that. But why are we doing that? What is the number one need of the drive-through customers? Is drive-through customers wants to go fast. Unless you are making their life faster, is not important for them. It's an AI or not, or a person answering that. Then you need to look at it: how, who, when. And these answers in the bottom, what, how, who, when, it could be in the future answered by AI. I think that's going to happen. But why is the one that needs to be answered by you and human being. Until you can ask that question, why, and get the answer from it, and be able to put it in a piece of paper, in words and sentences, then what, how, who, when becomes a very easy things to answer. So this was just a summary of how to be a CTO and what are the key things in there. So thank you all for that.